What's up, world? What's going on? What's going on? It's your main man, the author. Right back at that ass again. Here's another one. What's going on, man? Just making this video. Basically, welcome to all the new subscribers. Thanks for your support, man. Seems like every day the channel is growing. And most of you who've been listening to me for a few years now, you know that I'm not really big on trying to make the channel huge. Everybody's not gonna get this, man, and I've accepted that, and that's cool. But for those of us who are on a level, let's continue. Keep it going. Today's video, man, is gonna be about should all black women become mothers, man? Huh? Should all black women become mothers? Because it seems like most black women are mothers, right? But should this be, man? Huh? Should this be, man? Should all black women become mothers, man? And I was thinking about this on my way to work, man. First things first, man. That I see in the black community, a big problem I see in the black community and all around. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people are having. A lot of females are having kids way too early. And I'm not saying every black man should be a father. I'm not saying all men should be fathers. But I speak to a certain race. I speak about things in general. But typically, of course, I'm going to speak to what I see in my own race. And because I can speak best on that based on my experiences. And to make a long story short, man, what I see is black women having kids way too early, man. So number one, man, in my personal opinion, if you are having kids in your teens or 20s, drum roll, please. It's a big chance that kid's gonna fail, man. All right, and I'm not talking about the somebody's gonna come out and say, well, I've known people who've raised kids and they were in their 20s and the kid turned out perfectly fine. I'm not talking about the straw man argument, man. That's what you call the straw man argument. I'm saying in most cases, okay, when you have kids way too early, okay, it doesn't work, man. Mostly because when you're in your 20s, especially in your teens and 20s, you have all that energy, man, and you can be like 21 to get into most clubs, right? And that's when you want to run, man. You want to run, you want to be sexual, you're always horny. Your first priority in a lot of cases is not these kids, man. I've had a lot of babies' moms talk about they only mention their kids when they're mad at me. But back when I was in my 20s, when I was fucking them real good, they did not care about those kids, man. I've had it where I was banging a female and the kid walked in and she still didn't really care. I used to have to try to, this one female, I was hitting it doggy, not to get too explicit, but I was hitting it doggy, all right? And I had to try to hold the door closed with one hand and tap that ass with the other hand so the 5-year-old wouldn't run in. And she was just, she didn't give a damn, bro. She said that her kids used to always walk in on her and her ex before I started hitting it, right? Any race in their 20s is usually a bad parent, man. But especially if you're in a low economic situation, which is where you find most blacks and Hispanics. You find most of them in that situation in the U.S., right? So first of all, age, man. Next is money, too. Not saying money raises kids, but money can improve a situation. A lot of times, too, when you're in your 20s, you're not established, man. You don't have that income. You're not getting the best jobs, all right? I didn't get my better job until I became in my late 30s. And that's different for certain races. But a lot of times too, you're in your 20s, you're not getting the best jobs, man. So you probably can't if you're working at all. I've been working since I was 15. But if you're working at all, so not having the best jobs, you can't provide that child with the best living situation, right? And this is a major one, especially for our race, for black women. If you're broken, meaning you have some major now nobody out there, regardless of their race, has had a perfect childhood, right? Because we're human, right? But some people have had major hangups, man. My mother had a major hangup with her mother, even though we were staying with her mother, you know, and her mother's husband, her parents, right? I don't know how you can hate the motherfuckers who let you stay there, even though you paying rent to them, right? So she had major situations with her mother. So if you have major hangups, man, psychological hangups about how you were treated as a kid, because that's what I felt like. I felt like the whole time my mother was trying to. I mean, thank God I had my grandparents to help me, but I felt like the whole time my mother had a hang up about her childhood and kept that chip on her shoulder for the whole time she was raising me. You're gonna be a fucked up parent, man. I'm just saying. And plus she was in her 20s too, and poor too. But a lot of cats out here are in that same situation, man. Their parents was in their 20s, if not in their teens, right? I mean, some females need their asses kicked. Some of them getting pregnant at 12. I mean, crazy shit, right? So that kid doesn't have a chance. He gets 18. Shit, she what? 28 or some shit like that. Just crazy. You competing with your kid almost like your sister or brother. You see a lot of that crazy shit in poor areas, right? So if you're broken, meaning you have a major beef with one of your parents, you shouldn't be a parent, man. And a lot of females, especially females in the black community, have a lot of big hangups with their mother, meaning they have beef with their mother, they have beef about how they was raised, right? And all you doing is pouring that into your kid, and your kid remembers that like, damn, my mom was broken, so she couldn't properly raise me. So you can see how we having all the maladies and all the, dysfunction in the community. So I mean, any of those things, man, can make a poor parent, man. If especially and I'm speaking to black females because in most cases the man can depart. In a lot of cases, the female is left with the kid. Now, especially nowadays, where you have more guys that want to be present, but the courts are not going to let you be present, right? So, and I repeat, some more guys today want to be present because their fathers weren't present, but she doesn't want you to be present. She wants to prove that she can raise the kid by herself, like she was raised by one parent. But she doesn't realize that she's fucked up, so she fucks up another generation, right? By being stubborn. So, going forward, man, like I mentioned, 20s. You want to still run and gun, man. If you're in your 20s, it is not. If you're in your you, if you're an adolescent, I mean, you need your ass kicked. You get pregnant at 12. I don't give a fuck. If you're in your teens, that's crazy too. But if you're in your 20s, still too early, man. In my personal opinion, in order for that kid to have at least a half a chance, especially if the father's not around, the mother needs to be at least 28, man. Somewhere around there, close to 30. So you at least you're somewhat grounded. At least when you hit about 30, if you had the average lifestyle, you didn't went to your bars and your clubs. Now you may still go out, but you don't have to go out. When I was in my 20s and I joined the service, I had to go out. It felt like that. Now you might say, well, you didn't have to, but when you in your late teens, early 20s, all that testosterone, you feel like you have to go out or you gonna just pass out. Like I had to go to the club Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I had to go to the bar, Wednesday, Thursday. I had to do that. Now that I'm much older, now that I'm in my 40s, I can do it still, but I don't have to. I can stay in for weeks because I've been there. Now I'm better suited to raise a kid if I have one because I can stay home. You don't want to stay home when you're in your 20s, and you shouldn't. But what people fuck up is you got 3, 4 kids. Some females out here, especially black females, they spent most of their 20s pregnant. You got 4 kids, you spent most of your 20s pregnant. So of course you're gonna still want to club in your 30s, 40s, and 50s because you never got out there, or you didn't get out there as much as you wanted to because you know, had kids, or some of them was able to pawn the kids off on the grandparents. And I'm not just trying to just talk shit. I'm just shedding light. Should all black women become mothers? Should they? I might talk later on about should all black mothers get respect just because they're mothers. That's another video. But should all black women become mothers, man? Because most are by the time they reach 19. A lot of them are sexually active by the time they reach 10. So it's like, with all the shit going on, with all the increasing gang members and increasing abortions and increasing single parent families, I'm not saying, all the time abortions aren't necessary, but not the way we're doing it now. We have birth control, and females have their own birth control. Male birth control is condoms. Females birth control is diaphragm. And females don't like to use any birth control. They want the man to use birth control, but they don't want to use birth control. Oh, the condom broke. It's his fault. No, the condom is his birth control. You're supposed to have your own birth control, either the pill or a diaphragm to catch the sperm, just in case the condom comes off or if the condom breaks. But females, they don't look at shit like that. The condom break and she get pregnant, it's your fault. No, I used my form of birth control. You were supposed to use your form of birth control. But you never hear that in this feminist, womanist era, right? Bullshit. But I mean, and you guys always leave comments. Let me know what you think, man. Do you think that most black women should be parents? I don't think so, man. And if your economic situation ain't right, you definitely shouldn't be having kids. And seeing how our people are on the bottom or second to the bottom in terms of economic efficiency in the U.S., I would say the people who make the least amount as a whole or have the lowest amount of business growth should be the last race to have kids. But it's the opposite, right? The most well-to-do have fewer children, and the ones who lack resources have the most children. So what's up with that? What happens to all these kids, man, once they become adults? The prison system. The game is on, right? So, just a quick recap, man. 20s, poverty, you're broken, meaning you have major hang-ups about your childhood. You shouldn't be having kids, man. Black woman, period. Period. Spare that kid, man. There's stories all over the net, man. I saw one story about a female who left and went to another state and left the 11-year-old to watch 2 or 3 other kids. And of course, she went for the weekend, and when she came back, one of the kids was dead. I think the 3-year-old let the 11-year-old push the stove on the 3-year-old. Just some sad shit, man. And it's not the 11-year-old's fault. It's the mother's fault, right? There's this one story about this one 5-year-old It was just walking up the street, and I think the mother left, was getting dicked down. As I said, when these females are having good sex, they don't. And she's another black female. When they having good sex, they don't give a shit about these kids. This kid was found face down, dead, like 5 years old, found face down in a puddle, just dead. And this bitch, she said on the air, they asked her about it. She said, well, you know what? Next time, I'll be more careful about what. Next time? Motherfucker. Next, man, I would have been destroyed, man. Next time, all of them should be taken away from you. Just for you. Next time. You lost a kid because she had like, I guess she was looking at it where she had four. So, well, I was just one down. So she gets to be better on the other three. It's like, what? And I think that was one of the youngest. Talking about next time? That shit, and she said that shit on the air. No tears, no nothing. Wasn't crushed or nothing. I'd have been devastated and embarrassed because other races saw that. That was on the local news in a major city. I forget the city, but I know that shit was on the local news. Come on, man. You making the whole the whole community look bad, man. Not just yourself. That perpetuates every stereotype these Italians and Irish and all these other groups ever have had about us. Now, I don't want to really get into that, but I mean, it's a reality that's out here, man. But most importantly, it's about responsibility. But we don't realize that regardless of us not caring, we are greatly impacted about what other races think about us, especially since we rely on other races for jobs. Just to be honest, because we're not knocking them dead in terms of building businesses, not the African American community. Now, it was once like that. It was, and I'm a firm believer that at one point we owned everything. The native people of this land, the people of my complexion, copper colored people at one point, I believe, owned this land and they controlled about just about all of the businesses when there was just pretty much all copper colored people on this landmass. However, things have drastically changed over the centuries. Okay, and the whole thing is turned around on us. It's turned on top of us. So, looking at it from that perspective, we are dependent on other races for resources. Now, especially black women, they say they don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. However, they're dependent on other races as well. Black women don't have any major businesses that black men can work for, just like we don't have any big businesses to offer them. Even though they probably would still go ahead and work for other races because of the Stockholm syndrome. But my point is, we are affected whether we care or not. So make sure to continue to like, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think. And I hope you're enjoying yourself. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoy the upcoming New Year. Everybody stay safe, man. Idiots out here. Drunk drivers and stuff like that, man. If you see somebody pull in front of you, man, just let them go, man. Don't fight to try to get over in a lane. These idiots out here, man. I know Charlotte is crazy. Any major city, don't fight him for it. If he wants to get over and just cut in front of you, just let him go, man. Let him go. It's not worth it. But again, it's your main man, the author. I'm signing out. Y'all stay good.